This is Inside Access. I'm Connor Gregoire, sports editor of the Hoya. Tonight I'm joined by Pat Curran and Preston Barclay, our women's basketball beat writers. Over the weekend, the women lost at St. John's 75-71. That snapped a 6-game win streak for the Hoyas. Pat, I know last week you predicted that the Hoyas would win this one, so what happened?
Well, they've had trouble with close games all season. They're 0-3 in overtime. And you might be able to chalk that up to their lack of depth somewhat. The team had only 11 points off the bench the whole game, none of which came in the second half in overtime. And obviously Sugar Rogers is a great player, but they might be relying a little bit too much on her.
Yeah, and just adding on to that, the team struggled offensively in the first half. They shot poorly, and they got down to an early deficit and trailed by 6 at halftime. And then they fell even further down the second half, fell down to 10 points with about 15 minutes left. And then they had to claw their way back in the game, and give them credit for coming back and forcing it to send the game to overtime. But I feel like the team might have been spent for the overtime period.
Rogers was 8 of 22. Monica McNutt had a chance to tie the game with a 3 late in overtime, but in overtime, having the starters contributing most of the points, maybe she didn't have her legs under her. Now after the loss, the Hoyas have a week, and now they're going to go to DePaul this Saturday. DePaul, one of the top 2 teams in the conference, their only loss in the conference this year to UConn, the powerhouse of the Big East. So what are going to be the keys to the Hoyas pulling off the upset at DePaul? Because I think it would be an upset.
Well, DePaul's not just one of the best teams in the Big East, they're one of the best teams in the country. They score about 76 points a game, and they generally blow their opponents out. They're beaten by an average of 17. The key to the Hoyas winning this game is going to be to shut down the DePaul offense, because they've been scoring in big numbers all season. They have a few games over 90 points, and obviously the Hoyas don't really score that much. So if they can slow down the game a little bit and make sure it's a slow, more defensive game, then they have a chance.
Yeah, just touching up on that, DePaul has 4 scorers averaging over 10 points a game, and a fifth that averages 7.5. So it's going to be difficult to shut them all down. So the Hoyas are really going to have to focus on playing their game, and going to have to hope for Sugar to have a really good game.
Now, do you guys expect the rebounding battle to play a key role here? I mean, the Hoyas have struggled all year in the rebounding department, but what is DePaul's status in that category?
Well, the Hoyas have struggled, but one of the reasons I think this game is winnable, despite how difficult it is the fact that DePaul hasn't been great in rebounding either. They have a couple of star forwards, Keisha Hampton and Felicia Chester, who are good players and they're top scorers, but they haven't contributed that much in the rebounding department. DePaul's only 8th in the Big East.
All right, with all that said, what are you guys' predictions for this game?
I think I'm going to go with Georgetown on a tight one, call the upset here. The Lady Hoyas are pretty tough, even on the road. They've won a few big road games this year, so I think they can pull this one out. Georgetown by 3.
Preston?
Yeah, I'm not as optimistic as Pat. This is going to be a tough game on the road. At home, I give the Hoyas a greater shot, but I have DePaul winning by 5.
All right, so Preston's got 2 losses in a row for the Lady Hoyas. Pat's a little more optimistic. We'll see what happens, and we'll be back next week to recap the results. Again, Lady Hoyas at DePaul this weekend.